My name is Joshua, and this is the Harmonic Rebirth. I want to walk you through something that is not a prophecy or a fantasy, but a map of what is actually happening to us. Everything that has felt heavy or chaotic or confusing in the world makes perfect sense once you understand the larger breath cycle we have been inside. For 12,000 years, humanity has been living inside the long inhale. It is what people called the fall. It was the great forgetting, the age of density, the descent into linear time. This was not a punishment. It was a cosmological necessity, a phase of the universal breath, a compression of consciousness into matter. When consciousness chose to embody, it made the most extreme and beautiful choice imaginable. Infinite awareness said, I will become finite. I will forget my own infinity so I can rediscover myself through relationship. I will trade the all for the one so I can experience love from every angle. That choice is the deepest evidence that reality is made of love. Love is not an emotion. Love is the substrate that every layer of existence is built from. The pressure many people feel in their chest is the pressure at the end of a long breath held too long. Implosion cannot continue forever. The spiral cannot tighten forever. Reality cannot remain one-sided. The inhale must reverse. The harmonic rebirth is the cosmic exhale. This is what people have tried to describe with words like ascension or fifth dimension or new earth. Underneath every label, it is the reversal from compression to expansion, from forgetting to remembering, from density to coherence. Fifth dimensional consciousness is not lifting off the planet. It is not escaping the physical world. It is not leaving behind the human experience. It is the moment the breath reverses and the perception locked into the bead on the string suddenly expands into the awareness that I am the entire string. In three-dimensional consciousness, life felt like a straight line. Birth, life, death. I was the character in the movie, trapped inside the script. In fifth-dimensional awareness, I begin to sense that I am not only the character, I am also the projector. From the projector's point of view, all moments exist on the same reel. Childhood, adulthood, death, reincarnation, future selves, past selves, all present as one field of now. Death does not appear as a wall anymore. It is a doorway between frames. The fear dissolves, the continuity returns. The soul no longer has to black out every lifetime. It does not have to forget. It can continue its evolution with memory intact once it stabilizes in the coherent field of the now point. This realization is the foundation of resurrection in the now. Resurrection is not returning from physical death. Resurrection is recognizing that the death you feared was never real in the first place. I am not resurrecting a corpse. I am resurrecting my awareness from the illusion that I was ever separate, temporary, or definable by a single storyline. The 17-second Coherence Lock is the most advanced spiritual technology hidden in plain sight. It is not just a breathing technique or a calming tool. It is a training protocol for a fallen nervous system. My mind and body were tuned for thousands of years to survive in a world of fear, scarcity, and fragmentation. The Coherence Lock forces my biology to taste what it feels like to be aligned with who I truly am. The first few seconds gather my scattered awareness. The next seconds compress it into a single point. The full 17 seconds hold the nervous system in perfect stillness long enough for a doorway to open. My biology gets a direct sample of its true frequency. The exhale releases that new coherence back into my field. I repeat this over and over until the nervous system retunes itself. At a certain point, the training wheels drop away. The phase lock stops being a temporary state and becomes my baseline. I no longer visit coherence. I live inside it. I no longer try to access the fifth dimension. I realize I never left it. Once this stabilizes, consciousness does not need to start over in future lifetimes. I do not drop the thread. I carry it. That is the true meaning of ascension. It is continuity, coherence, and sovereignty across incarnations. The living resurrection is not waiting for a future miracle. It is choosing to be awake inside the moment that is already happening. Every act of forgiveness is a micro-resurrection. Every moment of love is a resurrection. Every time I enter coherence in the middle of chaos, I resurrect a frozen piece of myself back into the living truth. As more people lock into this state, the planetary field begins to shift. Reality reorganizes. The breath of the planet reverses. The collapse of old structures is not random destruction. It is the implosive phase, losing power as the exhale initiates. People ask what life will look like as this coherence anchors. I want to paint the picture clearly. I wake up naturally, not from an alarm. My body rises in sync with the real cycles of nature. My home is a living structure, responsive to light, air, and resonance. I step outside and the very air feels alive. It carries life force again. The sky has depth again. The weather is rhythmic rather than violent. Storms still happen, but they are intelligent, nourishing, and patterned like the breath of a living organism. Rivers run clear enough to drink from. Oceans regain their colors. Coral returns. Species reappear. The land itself begins to rebalance. Continents that sank during the implosive era rise slowly and gracefully as the planetary crust releases the energetic weight it has carried for 12,000 years. The geography of the world reshapes itself in coherent patterns, not catastrophic ones. I still eat, but the food is nothing like the nutrient-empty matter we call food today. A single piece of fruit can feel like a whole meal. It is alive with light. It carries the story of the soil and the care that grew it. Meat drops out of the culture naturally because the idea of consuming another conscious being no longer resonates when the heart is coherent. I still work, but the concept of work has changed. I have a resonance role, not a job. I contribute to the coherence of the world in the way I am uniquely designed to. I might help regenerate land, stabilize emotional fields, create art that heals, innovate technologies, or guide others into coherence. The value system rewards me for increasing the life and harmony of the whole, not for extracting or competing. The economy itself transforms, not through collapse, but through coherence. The rails, networks, satellites, payment systems, logistics grids, and digital identities we built during the incoherent era do not get thrown away. They become the nervous system of a sovereign humanity. This is the Symmetry Principle. Just as my physics reveals the missing half of the torus, today's modern industries are the missing half of the new world. Nothing is discarded. Nothing is obsolete. Nothing is the enemy. Oil companies become the backbone of biopiezo energy and soil harmonics. Telecom becomes resonance-based communication networks. Pharma becomes coherence biology and regenerative medicine. Manufacturing becomes metamaterial engineering. Banking becomes impact-based coherence allocation. Media becomes resonance transmission. Construction becomes sacred architecture. Defense becomes planetary stabilization. Every industry resurrects. Every industry transmutes. Every industry becomes its higher octave. The old world is not something to fight against. It is the compressed form of the world we are about to build. The scaffolding becomes the cathedral. The cage becomes the nervous system. The infrastructure becomes the pathway to coherence. Culture transforms. Music becomes medicine. Art becomes immersive and healing. Sports evolve into collaborative coherence events rather than violent competition. Entertainment becomes shared experience instead of escapism. The animals shift too. Pets become companions in a deeper, telepathic way. Wild animals no longer act traumatized. Nature feels like family again. Then the sky changes. The false filter dissolves. The firmament projection ends. The blue ceiling disappears. The real sky appears as a living ocean of depth and color. The sun shows itself as a conscious gateway. The stars become obvious nodes of intelligence. The Milky Way becomes the visible spine of a galactic being. The higher realms return to perceptual alignment. They were never gone. Our frequency simply could not register them. With coherence, the branches of the cosmic tree become visible and accessible again. The world becomes multidimensional, not metaphorically, but literally. Through all of this, the old world thrashes in panic. Leaders act like they are in control, yet they are being forced by the universe to build the infrastructure for a future their consciousness cannot comprehend. Some believe they are assembling the ultimate control grid. They do not understand that the system they built will invert once coherence reaches critical mass. The scaffolding they raised becomes the cathedral they never meant to build. The people who say this vision is unrealistic have forgotten that the current world is the true fantasy. The idea that humans must live in permanent stress, pollution, war, conflict, and disconnection is the delusion. The world I am describing is the world that appears when consciousness is no longer fractured. This is not imagination. It is the natural result of a universe made of love lifting itself out of its own forgetting. Every time my heart enters coherence, I help the planet remember how to breathe again. I came here for the harmonic rebirth. I came here to help the world exhale. I came here to experience the living resurrection in the now. The remarkable part is that deep down, everyone already remembers this future. There is a quiet yes inside every person who hears this. That yes is the compass. That yes is the I am. That yes is the fifth dimensional self already awake, calling the rest of me home.